Blood, sweat, and fame. That's what they traded to become Hollywood's ninja legends. But behind that unyielding fighting spirit lie stories filled with tears. Many of the actors who once lit up the screen have now left this world in tragedy. Some passed away far too young, while others spent their remaining years confined to wheelchairs. You won't believe what happened to them until you hear the whole story. John Fujioka as Shinyuki. John Fujioka was 60 years old when he played Shinyuki, the calm, wise ninja master who guided Joe Armstrong on his journey of self-discovery in American Ninja, 1985. With his dignified demeanor and gentle voice, he brought spiritual depth to a film otherwise filled with explosive action. But behind those serene eyes lay a childhood scarred by loss and displacement. John Mamoru Fujioka was born on June 29, 1925 in Ola'a, Hawaii, into a poor family of Japanese immigrants. His parents toiled on sugar plantations, living in poverty and facing constant discrimination. When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, his life changed forever. At 16, his parents were sent to internment camps for Japanese Americans, while John had to survive on his own amid insults and violence. He once said his childhood was a war without bullets. Those years of humiliation forged his resilience and quiet strength. After the war, John attended the University of Hawaii and served in the U.S. Army as a Japanese language interpreter. Upon returning, he fell in love with theater and later moved to Hollywood in the early 1960s. His artistic path was never smooth. During an era when Asian actors were often typecast, John worked tirelessly to prove his worth through dignity and discipline. Beyond American Ninja, he stood out as General Yamashita in The Court-Martial of the Tiger of Malaya, 1974, and as Raiden in Mortal Kombat, 1995, portraying a legendary warrior both fierce and profound. With a career spanning over 6 decades and more than 90 films, he became a familiar face in American cinema whenever honorable Asian characters were depicted. In his later years, John battled age-related illnesses, arthritis, fatigue, and mild dementia. He rarely appeared in public, living quietly with his longtime partner, Gerald Lentes. Despite his frailty, he kept his routine of meditation and writing memoirs about his youth in Hawaii. Sadly, John Fujioka passed away on December 13, 2018, in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 93. He died peacefully in his sleep, as serenely as he had lived. His net worth was estimated at around $800,000, mostly from acting earnings and land investments in his homeland. Steve James as Corporal Curtis Jackson. Steve James appeared in American Ninja, 1985, as Corporal Curtis Jackson, a brave, loyal soldier who stood by Joe Armstrong in every battle when he was 33 years old. With his broad shoulders, confident smile, and fierce gaze, he became a rare black hero figure in the 1980s action cinema. But behind that powerful image was a life marked by pain that left Hollywood stunned. Steve James was born on February 19, 1952, in Washington, D.C., USA. He grew up in a poor working-class family, where his father worked in public service and his mother was a homemaker. Poverty and racial discrimination created constant tension at home. His father was strict and quick-tempered, while his mother silently endured. Young Steve found his only escape in sports. Those early struggles shaped him into a tough man ready to face any challenge, even the harsh world of Hollywood. Entering the film industry, Steve started as a stunt performer in small New York productions before catching the attention of action producers. The Exterminator, 1980, brought him notice, but it was American Ninja, 1985, that made his name explode. As Curtis Jackson, he brought not only physical power but also camaraderie, honesty, and an indomitable spirit. He later shined in I'm Gonna Get You Sucka, 1988, a satirical comedy where Steve showed a humorous side far different from his usual warrior persona. But just as his career was at its peak, fate turned cruel. In 1993, Steve was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, a rare and deadly disease. He lost weight rapidly, his body weakened, and he had to decline major projects, including the lead role in the MANTIS series he had long dreamed of. In his final days, he tried to stay optimistic, often joking, "Fighting is what I've done all my life." Yet the illness claimed the strong hero within just a few months. Steve James passed away on December 18, 1993, at his home in Burbank, California, at the age of 41. The cause was advanced pancreatic cancer. His funeral was simple but full of tears. His ashes were placed on the fireplace of the home he had shared with his family. Many action stars, including Sidney Poitier, came to bid farewell to the man who had inspired a generation. Don Stewart as Victor Ortega. Don Stewart was 50 years old when he played Victor Ortega, the powerful, cold, and calculating smuggler boss in American Ninja, 1985. With his deep, commanding voice and stern presence, he turned this villain into one of the most memorable antagonists of 1980s action cinema. Few could have guessed that behind that steely face was a man shaped by a deeply conflicted childhood. Don Stewart was born on November 14, 1935, in Arlington, Nebraska, USA, into a poor farming family. His father, a strict conservative man, often vented his frustrations on his children whenever work failed, while his gentle, weary mother could only remain silent. Don grew up amid constant arguments, burdened by fear and shame. After the Great Depression, his family nearly lost their farm, and the nights filled with his father's drunken rage left deep scars on the boy's mind. Football became his only escape, a way to find self-worth and, eventually, his path to Hollywood. After graduating from the University of Nebraska, Don joined the U.S. Air Force, then moved to New York to study vocal performance and acting. He began his stage career in the late 1950s, and rose to fame through his 16-year portrayal of Mike Bauer on the series Guiding Light, 1968 to 1984, a role that defined his television career. He also appeared in The Last Starfighter, 1984, and American Ninja, 1985, embodying tough, proud men whose eyes always carried a trace of exhaustion. Don Stewart became a familiar face on American television, with over 100 roles that left a lasting impression on audiences. But in his twilight years, fate tested him once again. In 2005, Don was diagnosed with lung cancer, despite never having smoked. The disease progressed with brutal speed, forcing him to retire from acting. He spent his final months in his Santa Barbara home, cared for by his daughter. Don Stewart passed away on January 9, 2006, at the age of 70. His funeral was held quietly in Santa Barbara. He left behind 2 daughters and an estate worth around $2 million, saved from acting and investments. Mike Stone as Tojo Ken. At 41 years old, Mike Stone appeared in American Ninja 2, 1987, as Tojo Ken, the ruthless, cold-blooded, and highly skilled ninja villain. Every strike he delivered on screen felt chillingly real, because in real life, Mike was a true martial artist and a former world karate champion. His role as Tojo Ken gave the film a raw, authentic edge, yet the man behind that mask carried deep scars of his own. Mike Stone was born on July 1, 1946, in London, England, but grew up in Texas, USA from the age of 5. His father was an English boxer, and his mother a gentle, soft-spoken American. Their marriage quickly fell apart. His father, an alcoholic prone to violent outbursts, often abused his mother, leaving Mike with a childhood filled with fear. At 7, he began learning karate as an escape from reality, seeing martial arts as the only place where he could control his pain. "I grew up in a ring without rules," he once said, and learned to win just to be left alone. That dark childhood forged the strong and unbreakable man he would later become. After winning the World Karate Championship at just 17, Mike joined the U.S. military before turning to teaching and stunt work in Hollywood. He trained numerous celebrities, including Elvis Presley and Michelle Pfeiffer. Mike was a close friend of Bruce Lee, and even helped with martial arts choreography for Enter the Dragon, 1973. Later, he starred in The Master, 1984. In American Ninja 2, he not only played Tojo Ken, but also choreographed the fight scenes, making the film one of the defining action classics of the 1980s. With a career spanning over 50 films, he became an icon of American martial arts, honored twice by the Black Belt Hall of Fame. But glory always comes with a price. In 2013, Mike Stone was diagnosed with bladder cancer after years of working on film sets surrounded by smoke and chemical effects. The illness quickly weakened him, forcing him to stop teaching and close his martial arts schools. Physical pain soon brought emotional loneliness, as his dojos shut down one by one. Though he tried to remain optimistic and continued coaching students through video lessons, his condition worsened until he could no longer continue. Mike Stone passed away on June 14, 2014 in Hawaii at the age of 67 after a year-long battle with cancer. His ashes were laid to rest by the seaside where he had once trained as a boy. He left behind an estate valued at around $3 million, mostly from teaching and film royalties. Nick Nicholson as duty officer. At 33 years old, Nick Nicholson appeared in American Ninja, 1985, as the duty officer, a brief military role that nonetheless added a sense of authenticity to the film's setting. Though minor, Nick stood out for his stern presence and rugged aura, the mark of a man who had lived a rough life off-screen. But behind that hardened face lay the sad story of an American who chose exile far from home. Nick Nicholson was born on April 19, 1952, in the United States, into a troubled middle-class family. His parents clashed constantly due to cultural and lifestyle differences, leaving his childhood unstable. As a young man, Nick left his homeland in search of freedom. He chose the Philippines as the place to start over, a decision that would ultimately define his destiny. At first, he worked odd jobs to survive, teaching English, doing technical work, and slowly finding his way into the local film scene, where he finally discovered a sense of belonging. From the early 1980s onward, Nick became a familiar face in hundreds of B-grade action movies filmed in the Philippines. Beyond American Ninja, he appeared in Platoon, 1986, Oliver Stone's classic, and Robo Warriors, 1996. Not only an actor, Nick also worked as a director, casting coordinator, and production assistant for American crews filming in Asia. With over 100 screen appearances, he became known as the silent soul of Philippine action cinema, leaving his mark on every film he worked on. In his later years, Nick's health declined rapidly. Life abroad, the harsh conditions of film sets, and heavy smoking gradually weakened his heart. In 2010, he suffered from severe heart failure, requiring multiple hospitalizations, yet he kept trying to finish a few remaining projects. On August 11, 2010, Nick Nicholson took his last breath at the Philippine Heart Center in Quezon City at the age of 58. He left behind a modest estate of about $500,000, mostly from acting and behind-the-scenes work. Jaime Bartlett as Inspector Sinclair. Jaime Bartlett was just 21 years old when he played Inspector Sinclair, a young, serious, and courageous police officer assigned to investigate a mysterious conspiracy on a remote Philippine island in American Ninja 2, 1987. Though it was only a supporting role, Bartlett's confident demeanor and piercing gaze left a lasting impression. The film opened the door that brought the young British actor into Hollywood, beginning a long journey filled with both success and sorrow. Jaime Bartlett was born on July 9, 1966, in Maidenhead, Berkshire, England. When he was 10, his family moved to Johannesburg, South Africa, a challenging turning point in his life. His British accent made him the target of mockery, while his parents' divorce left him conflicted and lonely. His father, an English engineer, was strict and distant. His mother, a South African teacher, remarried, which strained their relationship even further. Jaime turned to the stage as a refuge, a place where he could become someone else and forget reality. Yet behind every performance was still the quiet boy who cleaned houses and sold newspapers just to help his mother make ends meet. After years of training at the University of Cape Town, Bartlett began his stage career in South Africa in 1985. Starting as a small-time actor, he rose to become a national star through his role as David Gennaro in Rhythm City, 2007 to 2021. A villain that became a television legend in South Africa. He also appeared in Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, 2013, as Sergeant James Gregory, delivering a powerful portrayal of a man torn between loyalty and conscience. With dedication and hard work, he appeared in over 50 films and television projects, becoming an artistic symbol of post-apartheid South Africa. But behind the spotlight were years of exhaustion. The pressures of work, long shooting schedules, and sleepless nights gradually took a toll on his health. In May 2022, after meeting friends, he returned home feeling unwell and suddenly died of cardiac arrest at the age of 55. He left behind an estimated fortune of $11 million, earned primarily from television and film roles. Michael Dudikoff as Private Joe Armstrong. Michael Dudikoff became a global star when he played Joe Armstrong in American Ninja 1985. The silent American soldier with extraordinary ninja skills and a noble heart when he was 31 years old. The role not only turned the movie into a massive box office success, but also made Dudikoff the new face of 1980s action cinema. Behind the spotlight, however, was the long journey of a young man who had struggled through everyday life before making it to Hollywood. Michael Dudikoff was born on October 8, 1954, in Redondo Beach, California, to a family of Russian and French-Canadian descent. His father was an engineer and his mother a pianist, but their early divorce left Michael to grow up in solitude. The fourth of 5 children, he learned self-reliance early, studying while working part-time to support his mother. He once worked as a waiter and at a youth rehabilitation center, experiences that taught him the value of perseverance. Those hardships shaped the calm, introspective man who would later face the harsh realities of the entertainment industry. Starting out as a fashion model, Michael quickly caught the attention of Hollywood casting directors. Before American Ninja, he appeared in Bachelor Party, 1984, alongside Tom Hanks and in TV shows like Dallas and Happy Days. But it was his portrayal of Joe Armstrong that made him a household name, leading to sequels and other hit action films such as Avenging Force, 1986, Platoon Leader, 1988, and River of Death, 1989. His quiet strength and intense presence earned him the title of the silent hero of the 1980s and 1990s, often compared to Chuck Norris and Jean-Claude Van Damme. After his peak years, Michael faced the fatigue of fame. He stepped back from Hollywood, turning to real estate and focusing on family life. Like many action stars, injuries and age took their toll, leaving him unable to perform physically demanding roles. Yet instead of fading away, he chose a peaceful life dedicated to charity work and mentoring children. "I was once a warrior on screen," he said. "Now I just want to be a good father." Today, Michael Dudikoff is 71 years old. He still lives in California with his wife, Belinda Bell Cube, and their 3 children. Though he rarely appears in public, he occasionally takes part in independent film projects and is often invited to anniversary events celebrating classic action movies. His net worth is estimated at around $2 million, mostly from films and investments. To fans, Michael Dudikoff remains the true American Ninja. The hero with the sad eyes who fought not only on screen, but also through the battles of real life. Larry Poindexter as Sergeant Charlie McDonald. Larry Poindexter was 28 years old when he appeared in American Ninja 2, 1987, as Sergeant Charlie McDonald, the witty yet fearless soldier who fought alongside Joe Armstrong in the battle against a sinister conspiracy. Though his role was small, Poindexter brought a touch of humor and humanity to the film's tense atmosphere, leaving a lasting impression on audiences. Larry Poindexter was born on December 15, 1959, in Salt Lake City, Utah, into a family of artists. His father, H.R. Poindexter, was a Tony Award-winning lighting designer, while his mother was an opera singer. Yet behind the glamour, Larry's childhood was far from peaceful. He grew up in a strict Mormon community, where creativity was often seen as rebellion. His unconventional mindset clashed with his conservative father, who hoped Larry would pursue a technical career instead of the arts. In defiance, the young Larry turned to singing, writing, and acting as a way to escape the confines of family and religion. After graduation, Larry left Utah for Los Angeles to chase his artistic dreams. From summer stock theater to small television roles, he slowly built a name for himself. Beyond American Ninja 2, he became widely recognized for his role as Captain Tom Fuller in SWAT 2003, where he clashed dramatically with Samuel L. Jackson's character. He also appeared in popular TV shows such as JAG, General Hospital, How I Met Your Mother, and Friends. In addition to acting, Larry was the lead singer of the 1990s band The High Lonesome and a Broadway producer who helped bring The Cher Show 2018 to life. In middle age, Larry faced a period of emotional and creative burnout. The constant pressure of balancing music and acting led to moments of deep anxiety and confusion. He later admitted feeling lost for years, but with the support of his wife, casting director Carol Kritzer, and his love for music, he eventually regained his peace of mind. In 2025, Larry Poindexter is 66 years old. He continues to live in Los Angeles with his wife and their twin sons, working in theater production and teaching acting to young performers. His net worth is estimated at around $1 million, earned primarily through his work in music, theater, and television. Tadashi Yamashita as Black Star Ninja. At 43 years old, Tadashi Yamashita brought to life American Ninja's 1985 fearsome villain, Black Star Ninja, a ruthless, mysterious, almost superhuman fighter. His lightning-fast strikes and calm demeanor convinced audiences they were watching a genuine martial artist rather than an actor. And indeed, they were. In real life, Tadashi Yamashita is a legendary karate master who devoted his entire life to spreading Okinawan martial arts across the world. Born on February 5, 1942 in Japan, Yamashita grew up in poverty after World War II. His father died when he was only 3, leaving his mother to raise him alone amid the ruins of war. His childhood was filled with hunger, chaos, and fear. At 8, he and his mother moved to Okinawa. Still a harsh environment, but one that offered him a new path. Martial arts. A rebellious boy who often fought with classmates, he was taken in by a local master who taught him to channel his anger into discipline. Karate became the light that led him out of poverty and gave him purpose. By age 16, Yamashita had earned his black belt and soon became Okinawa's freestyle champion. He moved to the United States in 1972, became a U.S. citizen, and began teaching martial arts. With his calm presence and mastery of weapons, he quickly became one of the world's most respected instructors. On screen, aside from American Ninja, Yamashita appeared in The Octagon, 1980, alongside Chuck Norris, and in several other action films. He was known for having taught Bruce Lee how to handle nunchaku, and for achieving the 10th Dan rank in both karate and kobudo. The name Tadashi Yamashita became synonymous with the balance of martial philosophy and combat artistry, a fist that flows like water, as he described his own system, Suikendo. After more than 60 years of teaching, his health has begun to decline in recent years. He sometimes uses a wheelchair to move around. Yet his eyes remain bright, and his voice full of spirit. He still hosts martial arts seminars around the world, though he limits public appearances. "I learned how to fight as a child," he once said, "but now I only want to teach people how to find peace." The wounds of his youth made him strong, and martial arts gave him freedom of the soul. Now, Tadashi Yamashita is 83 years old. He still lives in California, teaching the younger generation and leading the U.S. Shorin-ryu Karate Association. Despite his age, he continues to train every morning and write about martial philosophy. His net worth is estimated at around $5 million, the fruit of a lifetime devoted to both martial arts and cinema. To fans, Yamashita is more than just Black Star Ninja. He is a living symbol of discipline, perseverance, and the unbreakable spirit. Gary Conway as the Lion. At 51 years old, Gary Conway appeared in American Ninja 2, The Confrontation, 1987, as the Lion, a calculating, ruthless crime lord behind the creation of a super soldier army. With his aristocratic bearing and icy demeanor, Conway sent shivers down viewers' spines every time he appeared on screen. The role not only showcased his versatility, but also marked a new chapter in a career that had already spanned 3 decades. Gary Conway was born on February 4, 1936, in Boston, Massachusetts, into an artistic family that suffered greatly during World War II. His father served overseas for years, leaving his mother to raise him alone in hardship. Those early years instilled in him both independence and quiet strength. Later, Conway studied art at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, where he met Marion McKnight, Miss America 1957, who would become his lifelong partner and wife. Starting his career in the 1950s, Conway quickly gained fame through horror films such as I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, 1957, and How to Make a Monster, 1958. He became a household name on American television with series like Burke's Law, 1963 to 1965, and Land of the Giants, 1968 to 1970, where he starred as Captain Steve Burton. With his chiseled features and commanding presence, Conway epitomized the intelligent, determined leading man of his generation. In later years, Conway stepped away from Hollywood to pursue other passions: art and winemaking. In 1985, he and his wife founded Carmody McKnight Estate Wines in California, blending art, literature, and fine wine into a creative enterprise. But business and age brought challenges of their own. His health gradually declined. Arthritis and mild heart problems forced him to slow down. Yet he never stopped painting or writing. Creativity remained his lifelong refuge. Today, Gary Conway is 89 years old. He lives peacefully with his wife Marion in California, surrounded by their children, grandchildren, and the vineyards they built together. Though long retired from acting, he remains cherished by fans as one of television's golden era icons. His net worth is estimated at around $3 million, mostly from his acting career and wine business. Fame fades, but memories remain. Memories of warriors who once astonished the world. Have you ever imagined that the lives of these American ninja heroes could be so tragic, so human? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to uncover more untold, heartbreaking stories behind the silver screen.